Hey everybody, John here from Bristol Motor Speedway, where I am rolling off in 6th place for this NASCAR Xfinity Series race, 125 laps here in Thunder Valley. First time at Bristol, haven't raced here in the trucks, the late models, or any other lower series, so this is going to be my first race ever at this track, and hopefully it's not just a bunch of cars following each other around on pace laps because we're wrecking all of the time. Really hoping not to get run over. Really also hoping just to keep it in one piece. Again, this is my first. This is really my first short track race. My first true short track race in this series. I did some short track racing in the late model series, but that was with no cautions, and the field didn't get rebunched up over and over again. So it was very, very much a different experience. Coming down here, 1 to green. They do 2 pace laps here at Bristol because it's so short, apparently. And the trouble areas on this track are coming into 1. If you get in the brakes too hard, or if you're down on the bottom, it tends to get a little tail happy on you. And the same thing is true coming off of turn 4. Coming off turn 4 is pretty tricky, so hopefully we don't have problems in those areas of the track today, but we're ready to go green. Pace car is about to be in. There he goes.
All right, man.
And again, restart something I've been working on. And there you see I spin the tires real bad right off the bat, but don't get a horrible restart. And I'm going to settle right in here in 5th place. The 2 gets a little closer for comfort, but that's okay. I'm fully expecting to have contact with the other cars today. This is Bristol. You saw a lot of the actual Cup cars today completely wadded up, and, you know, they're professionals. They get paid for this and everything. I do not. So I'm not expecting to finish with straight body panels on this car. Here you can see really how hard it is to pass, and we've already got a caution flag. Extremely hard to pass. You have to get down to the bottom to do it usually, and it's pretty slick down there, so it's a tough thing to do. Let's see what happened. Well, we tried to go 3 wide off of 4, and that does not work well. Also, I'm not sure if that's my replay or if the cars are actually having connectivity issues to where they're blinking that badly, but they normally just don't disappear like that. That does not happen in real life, in case you were wondering. Here we go, second restart, or first restart, on the inside this time, so definitely at a disadvantage. And you can see there the car gets really, really loose. On the inside, it does not like it. Back down here underneath the 1. Gonna try and get the position, but he's got the 18 in front of him, so clearing both of them. And there you go, look at that. Almost lost it into 1. And another caution. So we're off to a really good start here. There, the 20 just comes off the corner, hits that car, and then they disappear. They just vanish like Houdini, just like real life. So here we are, 2 cautions in the first 15 laps of this thing. Really hoping this does not hold true for the rest of the race.
All right, man.
Restarting in 4th, which is good. We saw that was a good restart position. Really helped out Dale Jr. today. Again, I spin the tires. So this guy's able to get me down on the inside, but no. You see that, how he just lost it off of there. The bottom part of the racetrack's very, very slick. Well, it's not slick. It's just you have less grip down there. So, which I guess would be slick. There, smart guy. Either way, we're going to hopefully settle in and have a decently long green flag run and try and tick off some laps running up here in the top 5, which I'm pretty happy with, being my first race here. I did watch a lot of the racing this weekend, or I watched all the racing this weekend. Great Xfinity race yesterday. Man, Kyle Larson's so good. Like, you knew he was a good driver, but then to be able to see what he was able to do with a slower race car. You knew he had a slower race car than Kyle Busch. and the things he was doing to get around lap traffic and through lap traffic and fight with Kyle, the other Kyle, to hold him off. I know he didn't win, but it was really impressive. And he was very, very good at this place. It sucked. And there it goes. Whatever that number white car was, down to the inside. Probably just lost it, I would guess, off of 2 or 4. Again, very, very easy to do. And there's the caution flag.
Line up single file. Pit road is closed. Let the 21 car
Now
by.
let the 21 car by. Will do. And here we have so few green flag laps on the tires. I don't see the need to pit. Apparently everybody else does. So they're going to come into the pits. I'm not. I just don't. We barely run on these things at all. But we'll see whether or not that's a good decision. So here you go. The 6 car coming off of 4 just loses it. Super easy to do. I'll be restarting, obviously, in the first position.
Get ready.
Like I said last week, I was going to try a new strategy on my restarts. So if you listen to the engine, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to wait till I hear that 15 check.
All right, man. The pace car is in.
See, most guys will go right here, and you see he thinks I'm going to go. He checks there, and then I take off. So I think that's going to work a little bit better in the future, especially if I can not spin the damn tires while I'm doing it. So here I am actually leading my first laps ever in the XFinity series. And I'm going to say first lap. I don't want to put the plural to that because I'm just going to let this guy go by. The 3's able to get me here into 3 and 4. And that's fine. I mean, again, I'm pretty happy I haven't crashed yet and haven't run anybody over and haven't been run over and haven't tagged the wall.
All clear, all clear.
So I guess those new tires might have been a good idea, but
Got one
oh
inside.
well. This guy you might remember from last week, this number 12, the good wrench car,
All clear, all
he
clear.
was the one that won the race at Texas. So we're back in a race
All
with
right, man.
him,
Caution is out.
and we
Caution is
have
out.
another
Line up
caution
single file.
flag.
Pit road is closed.
Hooray. Again, I'm not going to
Heads
come
up,
in for
12
tires.
car.
This just, I don't see it as being necessary. But none of these other guys are going to come in either. They did just pit. So here you have the 18. I'm not sure what happens. I'm not sure if he was correcting coming out of 4, but he took a pretty hard shot there as he went around. But you see here, loses it out of 4, overcorrects, and then brings it back to the inside. Had he not cut it, been able to turn it back towards the inside of the racetrack, that probably could have ended his day. You get to the outside wall in this game, and it will simulate a lot of engine damage and pretty much make it not worth your while to finish the race. So here we go, restart number 1 billion, and I spin the tires again. On the high side, gonna try and keep it up there. And the 5's really getting aggressive with me.
Stay high.
And that's okay, he
Clear
can
low,
have it.
Clear low.
These guys have been doing this a lot more than I have, my first race, so if they want to get that aggressive this early, that's totally up to them. The line I'm trying to run through here is kind of to enter high and then let off and let the car exit, not on the bottom, but toward the bottom. Especially in 3 and 4. You see here, coming fairly high, and then let it drift down and come off low. That's to really keep it from getting too loose off of 4. It's really weird because this track is, I mean, it's perfectly symmetrical. You can chop it into quarters that are all the same. However, when you're driving it, I don't know why it is, it's 2 very, very different corners. You're turning 1 and 2 is completely different than 3 and 4, the way you drive them. And I think you kind of saw that in the race yesterday and today, where a lot of the drivers were doing what I'm doing here and dropping it down, taking a lower exit out of 4, and not so much out of 2. I don't know why that is. I have I have no clue, but that's how it was. So hopefully we'll get a good green flag run here. As you see a spinner down the inside, but he has disappeared magically, so hopefully no cautions. And we'll be able to tick off some laps actually under green and not under caution. As I was saying about Kyle Larson, man, he was good yesterday and put on a great show. I was disappointed that he didn't win. I thought he really deserved it, but you know, Eric Jones made a really good move on the restart and beat him, which that was a fun race to see. But it was more fun to watch because of Kyle Larson.
Clear low.
Instead of because of the track, which is how Bristol used to be. If you remember, Bristol used to be the hottest ticket, not only in NASCAR, but one of the hottest tickets in sports in America. It was like a 2-year waiting list to even get a seat here. So then in 2008, they decided to change the surface of the track and give it graduated banking, which means, if you're not familiar with it, is where the upper line, the upper half of the track, will have a, whoa, look at that guy get loose. The upper half of the track will have more banking than the lower half, and the theory is it gives you more side-by-side racing. Well, nobody came to Bristol to see side-by-side racing. They came because the bottom line was where you had to be, and to get somebody, to pass somebody, you had to hit them. And so there was a lot of contact between vehicles, and tempers usually flared there, and it put on a really good show. So 2008, they decided to change it, and it kind of ruined it. Attendance went way down. I mean, I don't know if you saw the race today, but there was nobody in the stands. I mean, that place holds well over 100,000, and there might have been 25,000 people there.
Outside. That car is a lap down. You're clear high.
And that's just a result of the racing there isn't as good as it used to be. Still, I thought today was a good race, but just not as good as the racing used to be there. In 2012, they decided that the graduated banking was a mistake, and they tried to correct it here as I try and navigate some lap traffic. Being very careful, kind of tiptoeing around the bottom of the track here.
Clear high.
Luckily, he just lets me go. So they realized in 2012 the graduated banking was a mistake, and they tried to undo it. The problem is they didn't know what the track looked like before. I'm not sure how that happened, but they didn't know what they actually needed to return the track to make it like it was in 2007. To get that information, they actually used data from the EA Sports NASCAR racing games of the early 2000s, which may not have been the most reputable source. I mean, I don't know, maybe, but so that's actually what the surface on Bristol is based on today, is off of the video game from the early 2000s, because that was, I guess, all the track data they had, all the places they had to get it. Kind of weird and kind of sad. I mean, this place used to be just awesome at all. You know, every time they came here, it was a great race. And today, yeah, yesterday was a great race, but again, it was more because of Kyle Larson and what he was doing. He was exciting to watch. Today, I don't want to say it was a bad race, but it wasn't what Bristol used to be, obviously.
Clear low, clear low.
You couldn't pass. They couldn't pass. It was very, very difficult. The guys on the inside were just screwed, which, I mean, to be fair, in the past, the guys on the outside were always screwed, so on the restarts and stuff. But on the inside, you can move somebody up the track to pass them. When you're on the outside, that's not really an option, and so I just don't think it works as well. Another caution flag here, and this time I am probably going to come take tires. I think I'm going to come take tires. I've gone kind of backwards in that green flag run, and could really probably benefit from some fresh tires. Also, it appears that I'm the final Whoa, look
Pit
at that.
road is now open.
Locking them up. It appears that I'm the last car on a lead lap, so there's no sense in me staying out. I'm not going to gain anything or lose anything by coming in, so I might as well come in. 35 miles an hour here in the pit lane at Bristol, which is excruciatingly slow, especially given how fast this track is. I'm going to come in here, take 4 fresh rubbers, no repairs yet, so that's a good thing. Then we'll get back out on the track and we'll cut to a replay too and see what happened in that wreck.
Line up single file.
No, we won't. I'm a liar.
Ready.
The reason was those 2 guys just disappeared. There was nothing to see. When I checked the replay, there was nothing you could actually see happening because the cars had just disappeared. And again, I think it might have been connectivity issues. So we're kind of falling back in the pack here, starting on the inside, but I don't think anybody's in the lane above us, so I'm going to gently drift up. But yeah, Bristol is starting to remind me a lot of the dirt tracks I used to go to when I was a kid, to where the fast line is on the outside, and they used to call it the cushion, running up against the cushion and all this craziness. And you can almost see that develop with the way the rubber was being laid down today, and the line slowly moved up the track closer and closer to the wall as more and more rubber was laid down. But watching a dirt race like that, you would think that the inside line's the best way, but the momentum's on the outside, and that's really what Bristol kind of has become, is almost not a paved, but a concrete dirt track style racing, which is fun in its own right. Again, I'd like to see it go back to the line being on the bottom, but I just don't think that's going to happen. They're going to have to totally resurface the track to get it back to what it was. And also, I don't know if it's ever going to, simply because of the cars we're running. And looks, somebody got in the wall there, the 5.
Outside.
And I'm not going to push him too hard because I am on the bottom, and it's super easy to end up in that inside retaining wall if you drive it too hard on the bottom of the racetrack. It was a good race today, though. Oh, look at that, the 5 just spins the 4 out right in front of us. So that's going to be another caution. I think we are going to come back in and take some more tires. Again, at this point, I'm 2 cars away from the tail end of the lead lap. You know, still pretty close to the top 5, not running bad, but still there's not a lot to lose by coming in and taking some tires, and maybe even a little bit to gain if any of these guys do stay out.
Pit road is now open.
The race today was all right. It was interesting to see, and look at that, you see the 12 just pretty much stopped and pivoted out of the pits there. It was really interesting to see some of the guys that went a couple laps down, like Dale Jr. and Chase Elliott, be able to make that up. Keselowski had a bad, would he get busted for speeding or something like that very early on, and he was able to come back and then had a problem there at the end. So it's nice to see a track where if you make a mistake or if you have something unfortunate happen, you're not done. So that was cool. But again, it was a lot of follow the leader. And you saw this from my perspective in the 5. I don't know what happened to the 9 there, but he just runs over. And I also don't know why he didn't hit his brakes. He went into the fence there pretty hard with the rear end. I think that could have been avoided, but who knows. Either way, I'm going to be starting in 6th, so I picked up a spot in the pits. And we are going to get back at it here at Bristol.
Green flag, green flag.
Get pretty loose there on the restart again. It was just kind of the nature of the beast here. I don't think it could
Stay
be
high.
avoided. I'm
Clear
sure it
low,
could be
clear low.
avoided, but I'm not good enough to figure out how to avoid it. Able to pick up the position on the 12, and now I'm sitting in the top 5.
You got one
This guy
inside.
he's
You're back
really
in.
aggressive. You see, he
Stay
just
high.
tapped me there.
Here's the car on the low side.
And he's pretty good.
Clear low,
Like I
clear
said,
low.
he's the one who won last week. But I just wasn't comfortable enough in these cars and on this track to really get very aggressive back with him. So better for me just to let him go and live to fight another day, learn some stuff, and maybe next time we come back here we'll be better. Yeah, there was a couple things happened today. Dale Jr.'s ignition, well, it was an ignition problem. The ECU, the electronic control unit, malfunctioned on him right off the bat. And Kyle Larson had his track bar actually break off of the trailing arm. And as much as I complain about the Joe Gibbs cars, and as much as I don't like, have been very vocal about not liking Toyota, one thing you never see a Gibbs car do is have a failure like that. You very, very rarely will see any of those Gibbs cars have two things happen to them. One is a mechanical or electrical failure in that vehicle. And I know they were blowing tires today. They had a problem with melting the beads on the tires. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about stuff on the car breaking, blown engines, just quality control issues, I guess. Today their tire problems were probably setup related. The other thing you never see those cars do is like what you see the Penske cars do a lot is have pit road violations, tires that get away from guys on pit road, or running over air hoses, or whatever. You just don't see it from the Gibbs team at all, and I think that really speaks to Joe Gibbs' leadership. And I don't like him. I don't not like him. I don't like his team, but man, they don't make a lot of mistakes. The drivers do, especially Hamlin and Busch on pit road. They tend to get busted for speeding a lot. And there's a lot of speeding penalties today, which was, I don't know if it was out of the ordinary. I think it was probably a result of 35-mile-an-hour pit road speed limit. But one thing I really dislike is timing lines. The more I watch this season, and I'm just not a fan of how they score pit road. Just, you've already got the electronic dashboard in the cars now. So just put a speedometer on them and be like, hey, speed limit's 35. If we read your speedometer going more than 35, you're going to get penalized. The end. Like, the timing line games are ridiculous. The whole pit road speeding, the pit road speeding penalty was implemented after, I think, one of Bill Elliott's crew members was killed in the 90s, when they actually used to race on and off of pit road. They were full speed, and they killed a crew member. NASCAR, and rightfully so, was like, we need to do something about this to increase safety on pit road. So they came up and just said, hey, there's a speed limit. But the problem with the timing lines is the guys now are able to play timing line games, and you'll see it if you're pitting after the last timing line, they just fly off of pit road because they have already stopped. So there's no way their time in that segment is going to be able to read, as speeding. The same thing with them coming into the pits. When they hit their zone, their pit lane or their pit box is in, they just take off. So I don't really buy that it's increasing the safety that much, because those cars, especially on the bigger tracks where pit lane's a little longer and the pit road speed limit is a little more, they're flying into their pit boxes and flying out of them. So I think they should just get rid of the timing lines altogether. And there the 12 gets up into the wall. He would do that. Spoilers, I spent a lot of the race behind the number 12. And I'm not sure if that was a glitchy thing because it doesn't seem to slow him down at all when he does get up into the fence, but who knows. But if I were to fix anything about NASCAR, you know, the timing line and pit lane scoring system would be way, way down on the list of things that I would fix. And you can see, even with the lap cars here, and we're a lot faster, this guy has significant damage, it's still difficult to get by. He's taking up a lot of room on where there's not a lot of room to be had, and it's tough to get by him. I think you saw that in the race today too, especially when guys would take like 2 tires or not pit, and they'd just be impossible to get by, whereas on any other track they'd be a moving chicane and they just go straight to the back. But guys like Paul Menard took 2 tires a bunch of times and had pretty decent success with it just because it was so hard to pass. Not a lot of battles for the lead either today, which was disappointing. I mean, and again, a Toyota ran away with it. Big surprise. They have won, of the last 28 races, they've won 15. So it's getting a little old seeing the same 4 cars. Just it's almost become a matter of which Gibbs car is the best. That's who's going to win the race. And it's not even now everybody's just fighting for second place, or unless they have a day like they did today where 3 of them wreck out, or worse than that, where they're going to put 3 or 4 of their cars in the top 5 week in and week out. But I've been on that soapbox before. I'm not going to get back up on it. Here you can see it's getting pretty hairy with the lap traffic, but all in all, this track is pretty fun to drive, honestly. It's a rhythm track, which I like. I was worried. This is my first short track, and I was really concerned. Anytime you add significant amounts of braking to this game, you stand the chance of getting completely run over by somebody behind you and then them yelling and screaming about how you're brake checking them, when in reality, you're just trying to get through the corner and they're over driving the corner, or they just have a different brake point than you do. So I mean, at this point in the race, I'm ecstatic. I haven't been run over. I haven't run anybody over. You know, it's been a fairly tame race even by iRacing standards. So, or even by real standards, this race has not had a lot of drama in it. So this track is pretty fun to drive in this game. Not sure if it's like this in real life, but I like that I like the rhythm of it. It's there goes the 2. Right on by. Not sure where he came from or where he was, but that'll push me back a little further in the field. At this point, we're closing on the end of the race, and him and the 12 are getting pretty racy here. And I am fully expecting them to wreck each other. The 12's going to give him the position. The 2's going to keep rolling, and I've got this yellow car who is a lap down, trying to put some pressure on me. And it kind of looks like the 12 maybe got some damage from hitting someone. This someone, potentially. But that's Bristol. That's short track racing. The fact that that was the only contact I've had thus far is pretty good. And we're not going to be able to take it all the way to the finish. We have another caution, and we will definitely be coming in for 4 fresh tires. Still not great at getting onto pit road.
Pit road is now open.
But that's a hard thing to practice, because you can practice the restarts, but without the other cars to pull up to, it's a tough thing to practice getting onto pit road quickly. And I'm one of the only ones who comes in, or me and this 12, whatever his name is, Isaac, are You know, it looked like the rest of the leaders stayed out. But, maybe he's picked up some damage. And I don't know how I overshot my pit box that badly going that slow. But I did. So, I'm getting better and better at screwing things up. Yeah, Isaac there behind me must have had some damage because there's no reason I should have beat him this badly out of the pits. Missing the pit box like that. And here you go, the 9, not too pleased with what the 5 did earlier, it looks. And the 5's like, well, I wrecked you once, I'll wreck you again there, so see you later. I think the 5 and the 9 really had a thing going the whole race. I'm pretty sure earlier when the 5 got really loose and I almost passed him, I think the 9 had run him out of room, and then he caught back up to the 9 and ran him over. So, you know, I guess if you dent my virtual car, I am now honor bound to wreck your virtual car. Then the 9 came back out on track and tried to send him a message by slowing way down in front of him. So,
Still there.
Oh well. I wasn't involved in it, so I guess that's good. And there the 12 gets by me. I got stuck on the inside. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the classic example of a dive bomb. Not a very nice move by the 12 there. Really, really kind of a dick move. You see here, he doesn't have the room and just wipes the 19 out. The 19 gets in the back of the 4, loses a lot of momentum, but he leaves the high side, which is the preferred lane. So I'm not sure what the 12 was thinking there, but that is going to end the race. That's going to be no green, white checkers here in iRacing, because at Bristol you would probably never, ever finish a race. But there you have it, second race here in the Xfinity cars, and second top 5 in a row. So I was not expecting to get a top 5 at Bristol at all, but we managed to do it. Pretty happy about it. And next week we will be coming at you from Richmond, which is kind of our home track here. It's just a couple hours down the road. So hope you liked the video. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep it on the fence, guys.